right, today I'm going to do a hopefully short video and cover two areas that seem to come up a lot. I have people reaching out to me, and they send watercolors that they've done, asking me what they could do better with, and even the ones that I see on Instagram typically suffer these two issues. One is color and texture, and the other one is shading. So I'm going to just do a quick little tutorial on this and show you how I address this, and hopefully you can take something away from it. So first thing I'm going to do is just draw two similar, let's just call them, let's do like a house. And then I can show you how I address this. So this is a fountain pen. This is my Pilot Falcon metal fountain pen, my favorite fountain pen, in case you're wondering. I do like using fountain pens. They just they're fun to use and they draw terrific. All right, so I'm just going to start on the one that normally that I see issues with, and you'll kind of grasp what I'm talking about when I paint this. And I'll just let you know up front, normally what it is, it's just the lack of pigment, and there's no interest to it. It's flat, and that's typically what I see a lot of people doing. They'll do I'm going to do a yellow house, and they paint a yellow house. There we go. There's the yellow house. I'm going to do a yellow house over here too, but this time I'm going to do it just a little bit different. I'm going to add a little more pigment. I'm going to make it really yellow. Okay, so you can already see there's a little more interest in this pale washed out thing. And then what I'm going to do initially is just take some areas here and rub in. I call this texturing. I do this a lot. And it just adds interest, because if you look at a building, it's not a solid color. Buildings have all sorts of things going on in them, and they're not just one color. And I think we make a mistake a lot when we do this, where we think, well, that's a yellow house. Well, it is a yellow house, but a typical building with color is not just one color. All right, so you can already see how that changes things. And I'm going to actually just introduce another color quick. I do this a lot, and it just kind of helps with things. I'm going to throw little colors in here, and I've got a little orange going on, and that just adds a little interest too. And you can just put that in different areas. And again, this is where this is what differentiates a boring picture from something with a little more interest. And I think we're just going to leave it at that. But you can see that it's alive. I think this is more alive than that. And then let's do our window quick. And I'm just going to put some panes in here. And then let's give it a fun door. Let's do maybe a reddish. And again, I'm trying to mimic on the left side here what I typically see when people do watercolor. All right, and I'm going to do my red door over here. And you guessed it, I'm going to have just a little more color going on here. So my initial lesson here would be use a lot of watercolor pigment in your water. Don't be so pale with it. Let's do a green up there on the trim. I will put some grass in here though. Oh, see, I didn't want to hit that, but I did. That's all right. I'm going to actually fix that. And get a little bonus tip here. I'm going to leave it at that. So there we go. We've got the boring pale house, and we've got something a little more interest here. I got to do my trim up there yet. Okay, so you can already see the difference in just using some color. All right, so that's my initial laydown. You can definitely see the difference between the two. What I would do normally too, even in this one, is I'd outline my glass and then probably put some pans up in the door too. Let's work on this guy. This is where I'll show you the difference. And again, this is a really quick demo, so it's not getting into some of the more involved watercoloring, but it definitely will show you what I'm talking about. All right, so texture was one thing that I talked about, and shading was the other. Now I'll be doing a little bit of texture and shading on this. This one I'm leaving alone because this represents what I see a lot. So I'm not going to deal with that. So for my shading a lot, I will use a Payne's Gray. I'm going to show you that here. I use these little cards that I have left over from when I cut my sheets. But I like to use Payne's Gray into the color that I used. And this becomes my shadowing. And typically I'll pick a way, which way the sun's going to come. I'm going to actually treat this one like the sun is coming down from this way. So there would be, I'm going to turn this for you here. There would be some shadow going on underneath here. And just a little bit here. See that this is already, and then I always shadow on the sides of your trim. So again, like the sun's coming down this way, I'm going to put shadows on here. Now you can see how that's starting to lift that up. And I'm also going to add a little darker inside my windows here. So there would also be shadows in your window panes on these. And you can see as I start adding this stuff, how it starts bringing this out. Even on the door panels, there'd be a little shadowing going on in here. And inside the panels. And it just represents which way the sun would shine. But you can see how this is starting to really pop. And then I like to just add texture. You gotta add texture. I like to just to do little areas, and I always make, and I'm going to put a little brown in here too. I always make my my bottoms dirty, because where they're by the ground, you would get more things going on there with dirt and stuff, and then I bring that up into my paint. But you can see how that's starting to add. And then in the yellow, there would be some things going on too, like this. And I like to just add little, even if it's like a drip down here, spots, you know, things that happen over ages, you know, go damage. And don't be afraid to use water. I use a lot of water on my stuff. But you can see how we're starting to add colors and just interest to this. that's the gist of it. That's the basics of it. I'm going to finish it up with some ink work, and this is something that I really enjoy doing. Is, again, I always use these little cards to just check my pen before I do it on a paper. I guess this one's not such a serious drawing where I have to worry about it, but I like adding just my line work, and this adds some character to it. It's super easy. Don't think about it. Don't get all wrapped up in, oh, I should put a line here, I should put a line there, and it doesn't matter. So again, I'll emphasize the shadow side on this stuff, even in the door here. And I hope that you're kind of getting the gist of it, is to just mess around and have fun and put some interest in your pictures. There's really no right or wrong, so these are just tips more than rules. And you can find your own style, and I actually recommend you to do that. Find your own style. You don't have to paint like I paint. I'm just showing you that I developed this stuff just with time, and it works for me, and I like it, and I like always doing stuff on the bottom here, like there might be plants or something here. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then let's just put some lines down here, lines there, around the window, and around the door, and then I'll add a couple lines in here. And then I usually just put kind of some lines and specks, and just to add some interest to it. Some interest. It's always interest to me. So the more interesting you can make it, the more people like to look at your pictures. And so that's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to get too nuts. I didn't want to make it a big deal, but I just wanted to show you that playing around, having fun, can make your picture much more interesting. And you can see the difference. This is what I normally see, and this is just not a whole lot of extra work, but it certainly adds some interest. You could put a chimney there if you want, and then just grab a little terracotta kind of color in here. So that is the gist of it. I kind of just wanted to show you how that all works, and I hope that you at least gain something from it. Like I said, it's not a complicated thing, but hopefully you picked up something. So that's all I have. I guess I should have put this a little more in the center, huh? All right, well, that's it for now. Thank you, and I will talk to you later.